have always believed that just because you can have children does not mean that you should. Well, at least that's the case for some people. And this is an example of one of those people. This is the case of Raven Yates. If you want to know more about this case, please continue watching.
You are watching Roll a Mile in My Shoes TV.
I'm sure growing up, we all have heard the term mother knows best, whether it has come from someone that we knew or our own parent. But in this case, 32-year-old Raven Yates did not know best because she decided to leave her children, ages 14, 12, and 3, alone for months without returning to check on them. And when they were found by the 12-year-old's father, he said that there was no food in the house and he had been sending food for them to eat because the 12-year-old, which is his daughter, was covering for the mom by saying that she was at work. And I guess she would also tell him that they had eaten everything that she left for them that day. And could he just send over some money for some food? And he said that he was doing that. And then I believe that a family member from Alabama, where Yates was seen, saw her and did not see her kids, and that is when her mother became concerned and she got in contact with the 12-year-old's father, and they started to put two and two together, and he got a flight to Texas where Yates and her children lived. And then that is when he saw the house and how the house was looking on the inside, and that it was obvious that the 12-year-old had been taking care of the 3-year-old. It's also been stated that days before Yates was last seen in Texas, that her 14-year-old daughter ran away, and that is why only the 12-year-old and 3-year-old were left together alone. And the 12-year-old would also tell people, or authorities at least, that her mother had told her that if she were to tell anyone, that her and her little brother would be separated because the dad would come and get her, which is the music producer, and leave the 3-year-old all alone by himself. And I know this is not true because right now all three of them are reunited and a family member is helping to take care of them. And I wonder what is going to be her excuse when they find her for leaving her kids for almost 2 to 3 months on end. And God knows what would have happened to those kids if no one would have ever discovered that they were in that house alone. Because when the authorities got there, they said that it was a strong urine odor coming from the 3-year-old's bed. And like he also said, no 12-year-old should be left to care for a 3-year-old, without adult supervision. And I also feel like Yates is wrong because she basically brainwashed her 12-year-old to believe that if she were to tell that they were being abandoned, basically, that, they would be separated and it would be basically her fault. And I also want to know, are they going to try to use mental illness as a reason that she left her kids, or abandoned her kids for all that time? I would really like to know how they're going to try to play this out. And the strange thing that many of people might be asking that may not have already heard some bits and pieces of this story is, how did these kids go unnoticed for so long? One of those questions, or one of those answers to one of those questions, is they were not enrolled in school. I think the last place they were enrolled in school was Alabama, which is where they're originally from. But like I said, this happened in Texas, where she took her kids and moved to. Now, I don't understand why you would move to a whole different state, knowing that you have no help in that city or state, when you could have stayed in Alabama with your family. And if you wanted to take a break, or whatever you might call this, you could have done that and had your mother help with your kids while you went and took your break, or left your kids with someone that is trustworthy, and or even down to the family member that they're with now. That would have been a better option than you just abandoning them. But I guess she didn't know what to do.
Police in two different states tonight after investigators say her two young children were found in deplorable living conditions.
The 12 and 3-year-old were left alone to fend for themselves for nearly 2 months. ABC 13's Brooke Taylor is live outside the home where all of this happened. Brooke?
Yeah, all of this really hard to believe. Now, the mom left about a few months ago, but they moved into this home a year ago, and the children were never enrolled in school in Texas. So officials tell me it was really easy for all of this to just go unnoticed. Inside this home, a nightmare for two young children, 12 and 3 years old. Roman Forest Police Chief Stephen Carlisle says they were abandoned for nearly 2 months.
There was no food in the house. Everything was empty. There was some dry beans and some spices, is about it.
Their mother, Raven Yates, left them in late September, he says. There's been a warrant out for her arrest since December. Investigators say the 12-year-old never told anyone because she was threatened by what might happen to her little brother. They have different fathers.
And she was afraid that her father was going to take her and leaving the 3-year-old by himself.
Fearful, she obeyed. She'd call her father, saying mom was working and he would send food. According to police, he's a music producer in California. He called police once family members spotted Yates in Mobile, Alabama, where she's from, without her kids.
When he got a call from his ex-mother-in-law and they put two and two together, he caught the first plane over here.
Investigators shocked to see how they were living.
The officers checked the bedroom of the children and discovered heavy urine odor coming from the 3-year-old's bed.
Yates continues to be active on social media, posting to her thousands of followers as investigators work with Mobile police to arrest the 31-year-old mom. She's wanted on 2 counts of abandoning or endangering a child without intent to return. She hasn't responded to our messages.
A 12-year-old cannot take care of a 3-year-old for a long period of time. It's dangerous, especially over a month and a half. It's dangerous, it's irresponsible of a parent.
Now, Yates also has a 14-year-old girl. She was reported as a runaway around the same time when police say she left the younger children. Tonight, though, police tell me all 3 children have been reunited. They are safe and they are with a family member in Alabama. We are live in New Caney. I'm Brooke Taylor, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Now, I also was watching some clips on other social media sites, and her brother made a post on his Facebook, which one of those sites were able to grab from his the post from his page. And he basically said that, his sister, has been dealing with some mental health issues for a very long time, and basically that I guess people have tried to help her and she didn't want any help. But my thing is, you mean to tell me you all knew this and didn't try to step in and at least take the kids every once in a while, even if you had to lie to her to do it, and just give her a break or time and space to do whatever she wanted to do or needed to do? And then again, my thing is also, how could you not know that this was going on? Because I get the strange feeling that this is not her first time doing this with these kids. This is just the longest that she's gone without, returning to check on these kids. And for whatever reason that may be, you know, she didn't think anything was going to happen because she'd done it so many times that she's gotten comfortable with doing that. And I still think that that is wrong. And when the 14-year-old ran away, did anybody even bother to ask her, hey, why did you run away? Or even, contact the mother and say, hey, why did so-and-so run away? Your other two kids, they don't seem to be having any issues with doing stuff like this. So why did she do it? And that could have been a clue too, that she was probably asking for help, but didn't know how to actually, say, I need help or we need help. Those are many different questions that I have when it comes to Raven Yates and her situation. And she's also said, I think I saw text messages where she's claimed that her baby's dad, which is the 14-year-old's daughter, is trying to kill her. But ma'am, he is in a whole different state and city than you, so how could he be trying to kill you? And apparently he's not too bad of a guy, because when he figured out his daughter was in trouble, he got on the first flight that he could right after he and your mother talked and put two and two together. So actually this is leaving you as the parent to, to look bad when it comes to who is the stable and unstable parent in these children's lives. And actually, when I first heard about this case, I was like so heartbroken for these kids, because there are many single parents, moms and fathers, who are single, who have kids, and they work and everything, and they figure out a way to, make it work, even if they have to put them in after school daycare programs, or even, before school daycare programs. Or even if they have to, go to a grandparent or a parent of theirs and say, hey, can you watch the kids for a couple of hours, while I go ahead and go to work, and, make sure they get to school. Or even they might do it when it's, when they're getting home from school. And even on the weekends, they might have to do that, but they make it work. They don't just disappear without letting their kids or anyone know. And I can speak to that personally, because I've had to have many surgeries over the course of my life. And my mom, she had been there for every one of my surgeries when I was a kid. And I have siblings, and I can guarantee you she never left them alone, didn't tell anybody where she was going. She made sure they were okay before she left, and made sure that they were okay and in the care of adults before she left to go with me. And we had to literally go out of state each time for my surgeries, but you better believe my siblings were taken care of while we were gone, doing what we needed to do. So there's no excuse for this woman, able-bodied, and both of her kids are in good health, thank God. So she doesn't have any excuse for her to leave these kids alone. And this is another example of why I say mother does not always know best. But if you guys like this video, please give me a like, and please leave me a comment down in the comment section below. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.